This novel, War in Turpentine, is based on some notebooks given by my grandfather to me almost 30 years, more than 30 years ago, just a few months before he died. I had some suspicions that it would be a very intense and moving story about what he lived through in the First World War trenches. But in opening them, and I waited so long because I thought that I had to have all the time for myself to be able to cope with this emotionally as well as historically. In opening them and in reading them, I realized this was a story about Flanders and almost a century in Flanders history, since not only the First World War, but even since the last decade of the 19th century, in which my grandfather grew up in extreme poverty in the industrial city, Flemish city of Ghent, where his father was a fresco painter, almost living in an later in the Renaissance dream world, and his mother of a better family who lived in this poverty with him. He had to go to the iron foundry when he was 13, work very hard. He enrolled in the military school of Courtrai at 1908, not knowing that this old-fashioned Flemish military, almost cozy culture would end in the nightmares of the First World War. In the second part of my book, I give him the word, and I let him tell what happened to him, what he called this terrifying experience which he lived there. All of this safe world of the 19th century ended there. And the story is first-hand. And I think it is maybe an answer even to books like From the Western Front, No News by Erich Maria Remarque. Here is a Flemish soldier telling his story, fighting at the other side at a certain moment where at the German side Hitler is fighting. When he comes back from the war, he falls in love with a girl who is a very imposing figure, just like his mother. And this girl dies in the Spanish flu, in which 100 million people died, 10 times the amount of people dying in the First World War. The death of this girl is terrible to him. He becomes a painter like his father and tries to cope with the sadness. He marries the frigid sister, elder sister of his great love, and the rest of his life is a life in, let's say, silent passion of the art, but also a life of modesty, of being a Catholic, old-fashioned military man with a great heart and a fantastic passion, a fantastic interest in art, who has formed me as a writer. And I think this testimony in this book, in which at the end I find secrets about his passion in the paintings I examine, tells a story which really shows Flanders in a century in which it changed fundamentally. And I think it's a story which is a European testimony even to what poor Flemish guys with a great soul as he had lived through, and how it changed their world and how the world for itself was changed by it.